Hi, my name is Chris. I was born deaf and I'm from Chicago. I love playing video games. I've been gaming since about 3 years old. Gaming has made a huge impact on my life while growing up deaf. I didn't really have much of a social life. Gaming really helped turn my loneliness into entertainment. Gaming was something that I could really enjoy and have fun with. During the early 90s, most games tended to be text based, meaning there was a lot of reading, but that meant it was already accessible to me. As time went on, gaming changed. Games now have voice acting, sound cues, visual cues, some, but those are things we didn't have back in the day when we were still playing on the NES. I played almost everything from the NES, Super NES, Sega Genesis, Nintendo 64, the Dreamcast, PS1, Xbox, Wii, I mean, you name it, whatever. I played all of it. A lot of the time, there was something that I wish we had back then, but just wasn't available. We just didn't have subtitles. So, why do I need subtitles? Subtitles help me understand what's going on. So, what's wrong? What's happening? Let's talk about it. When making a game, you have to keep reminding yourself that people playing these games might or probably will have some kind of disability background. Me, I'm deaf. I need visual aids and information to help me understand what I'm doing, what's happening on the screen. It's not a simple fix. You can't just turn subtitles on and slap them on there and then be done with it. It's not that simple. It's really important that you do not leave people with disabilities out. You have to think about their needs. You have to make them feel like they're included. That's why it's important to remember when making games, keep in mind that some people may have or may not have visual issues, audio issues, mobility issues, or cognitive issues. And there's even more disabilities out there that people may have that you'll have to do some research on and do your best to understand their struggles. Most of the time back in the day when you started a game, you turn it on, it would go straight to the opening cutscene. You couldn't change anything until after you saw the movie, and then you get to the settings. Oh, it made me so upset because, my good feeling, my excitement about playing a new game would be ruined because I would see some of this cutscene already, and most of the time there were no subtitles at all. So how do you make a game with voice and sound, but no subtitles? What about people who can't hear? How are they going to understand what's happening? There were some games released just this year who did that, and it doesn't make sense. I'm really hoping that we can find a way to stop making this very simple mistake. If you have any voice acting in your game, caption it. It's really important. So now I'm going to try to toss out some ideas that can show what's good or what's bad. So let's do the bad first. These bad ideas, bad suggestions. For example, using really fancy and ornate game fonts is never a good idea. You can have them, but make sure that there's an option for people to choose a different font. If you make your font too fancy, I mean really fancy, it can be very difficult for people to read. Some people will just immediately be turned off, and it'll help make that experience a negative one. People want to read these subtitles and enjoy them while playing their game. So while you're providing subtitles, include some options: size, color, background, and so forth. And also, why not do the same for the HUD? And by this, I mean the text on screen in the corner. Sometimes it's really small. You can't read that. Maybe I can read the subtitles, but I can't read the information on the HUD. And very often you can't change that. So it's very important to let the player change the size for almost anything if possible. One that I'm really sick of is music that's not captioned. For example, I was recently playing Life is Strange: True Colors. One character was playing the guitar and singing, and the subtitle said, Alex sings. And I'm like, singing what? I didn't understand. But people who could hear could understand the song. That meant I was left out. What about me? I want to know what's going on in the song too. The important thing is, you gotta be fair. You're already being fair to people who can hear, but being unfair to those who can't. I guess the best idea is maybe perhaps try to create your own music and put it in the game so that you don't have to borrow any well-known piece of music. Try to be fair to everyone so that everyone can enjoy your game. The next one I'm really not fond of. Subtitles being a paragraph on screen. Whoa! No way. Don't do that. Try not to go more than maybe 2 or 3 lines on screen at a time. Don't do any more than that. It's too much. I just want to read something quick rather than trying to get myself distracted by trying to read the intent of an entire paragraph. That's not a good thing at all when you're playing a game. So it's important to be careful and know where to have your line breaks. You don't want to cut something in the middle to mess it up, because that's definitely the wrong place to break a line. Try to make it feel natural. Don't have just like one word hanging there at the end. And also try to keep it simple and sweet. So, okay, let's talk about good ideas. Allow us to customize how we want to read subtitles. Let us choose the font type, the color, the size, and the shape. And in terms of shape, meaning if we want our subtitles to look normal size or a more thin font, perhaps even a thicker bold font. Some people like really bold text because it's easier to read than thin text. I can't read those small ones very well. So it's important to let people be able to change that. Same for the colors as well, because some people do have a preference for what they want to read and what's most comfortable for them. It might be something that they're used to because they use these colors in other places. It's a good idea to let people change the color for subtitle text, backgrounds, also speaker tags. I know that sometimes games have a fixed color for speakers when they tag them, but sometimes it doesn't always go well. It might blend into a dark background or clash with some other colors on screen. It can be hard to read sometimes if that happens, so that's why it's important to let us change the color for those two. If there's a character that you don't want to announce their name yet because it's a secret, you can tag them as, question mark character, and you can keep their name a secret until it's time to be revealed. That tells us the character will be important for later, so something like that can work. Directional subtitles. The subtitles should point to the person who is talking, perhaps even with an arrow. That is a really nice feature to have. The Last of Us Part 2 is a good example of games with that kind of a subtitle. It has arrows which give directionality and identify who's talking. When you have captioning for sounds that are ambient, like an explosion, it's really important to have that as well, because then we can know what's happening around us. It's not just subtitles for the speakers and their tags, but I want to know, is something happening near me? Is there something blowing up near me? If anything pops up, I can see that. Maybe there's a car alarm going off. Maybe people are screaming. I need some kind of cue to let me know that's happening. It's really important that you give me, the player, as much information as you would to a person who could hear that. People who can hear use sound for information, And deaf people like myself, we need visual information. That's what makes it fair. If you need some guidelines to help you design your subtitles, there is a good site. It's on the BBC. Here is the URL. They have great instructions there on how to design proper subtitles. It's step by step. They can really give you some good information, and I strongly suggest checking it out. I really do. So now you know some bad ideas and you know some good ideas. What other solutions are there? Empathy is one. You have to really understand the struggles that a person with disabilities might have. Find out why they're struggling with your game. Observe this. Take notes from their perspective and not your own, because it's really tough to mimic the disabilities that a person has if you don't have them. We live with these disabilities every day. You jumping into our shoes for a day isn't really going to give you an accurate read on our experiences. You definitely need to have empathy, for sure. So, how can you get it? Let a disabled person test your game. Let them help you with feedback, with their thoughts. They can say, I can do this, I can't do that. Maybe they might have some suggestions. Maybe they'll say, I don't think this is going to help, but let's discuss what's going to work. You can have this dialogue back and forth with them. What's good? What's bad? Understanding each other is key, and finding that out can really benefit other people. I really believe there's not enough actually disabled people testing games right now. Most of the time, when a developer makes a game and then they, for example, do a beta or they have some testers in the house or something, um, they're not usually focused on accessibility. They don't take that into consideration. And I feel like that's the step that's missing a lot. People who test the game will say, oh, okay, this is fun. I have no problem. I can just get into this game and just, give me the challenging sections. And they don't think about what they can do to help people who may be struggling with something that they're not. Let the disability community into your game. Let them consult with your team, have these vital discussions, let them help test games for you. And doing something like that will help shape the future of gaming to be more inclusive. I really hope my presentation helps even just a bit with some insight when you are designing games for a wide range of people to enjoy. Unfortunately, there are a lot of ways gatekeeping happens out there. And I want to assure you that disabled gamers, we're not trying to be negative. We're not trying to ruin your games. Not at all. We're not trying to destroy what you're building. We love your scenarios. We love your development. We're not against that. We just want to play your games. We want to enjoy your games like everyone else does. We want to feel included as a community. And really, that's just the heart of what we want. We want developers to see us. We want them to know what our struggles are like. And we want them to know how to improve their games to make them enjoyable to everyone. Our voices are really easily drowned out by the negativity out there, all the hate, all of the elitists who believe gaming should only be about challenge, these hardcore players. Gaming doesn't have to only be about challenge. I know that some people like to brag about their accomplishments in gaming. I get it. But gaming should also be fun, right? So that's why it's important to have this empathy. We want to be able to help improve games and make games more inclusive and empathic. And I believe with good empathy, a developer can go even further in their game design and in having an increased level of inclusivity. Please don't let us be hidden anymore. Don't let us be drowned out by the negativity, hate, and ableism out there from the hardcore players. I believe games can put a smile on someone's face and show them that the world of gaming can be fun. It can be a wonderful place for friends, family, or anyone. Thank you so much, and keep up the good work. Inclusivity is power.